Hey, it's E.B. Moss, and this is episode 29 of Insider Interviews, and you're going to get the inside scoop from 4 different individuals who I grabbed spontaneously during advertising week and surrounding events like See Her and Brand Innovators. I got 4 of the best for you. You're going to hear from a Magel and a mogul, a content creator, and a client officer. What am I talking about? Okay, Kris Magel at Freewheel is talking about making things easier for CTV providers and advertisers. Mogul and billionaire Master P, yes, as in the rapper, is going to talk about his new book and why he's getting behind branded jackets, along with his son Percy, who's an up-and-coming basketball legend, followed by Jeannine Shao Collins, who is the Chief Client Officer at Kargo, which is amplifying multicultural content in a fantastic way. Then we're going to talk to Annie Granatstein, who heads up global content marketing at Marriott. 4 different interviews, each about 4 to 8 minutes long. You're going to learn a lot in this jam-packed episode 29. Here we go. It's day 1 at advertising week. That means that everybody is insane. So I had the opportunity to speak to someone who's even more insane because he's 8 weeks into a new job. Hello, Kris Magel.
Hello, E.B. How are you?
I'm good. Question is, how are you?
I'm good. Just got off of my first public speaking engagement on behalf of Freewheel. I think it went okay.
You were awesome. They laughed, they applauded, they literally did.
Well, I had to make them laugh because I needed to make them think I know what I was talking about.
I know, pay no attention to the man on the panel. So why don't you explain exactly why you were tap dancing and what your new role is at Freewheel?
Let's start with where it comes from. So I worked, as you know, for almost 3 decades in media agencies in various investment and agency leadership roles. And about 3 years ago, I got into the advanced video sector. My first 3 years I spent at Samba TV, and I learned a lot about ACR data and targeting in the programmatic space and in measurement. And it was a fantastic foundation in advertising tech in general. And so now I have joined Freewheel, who is a advertising technology company as well, who works with some of the largest premium TV and streaming publishers in the industry. And we offer linear TV, data-driven linear TV solutions to the market, programmatic CTV solutions to the market, ad-serving solutions, and even buy-side buying platforms to agencies. Its technology was largely available to these premium publishers and allowed them to manage their clients' advertising delivery across many different buy types and that sort of thing. And we make all of that inventory programmatically available to the marketplace. We have now taken a lot of that technology and made it applicable and usable for agencies to be able to have more visibility and more control over the way that they deploy their clients' advertising in the programmatic space. And I think what's cool about it for me is the intent is to try to demurkify things.
Demurkify, that's an official word.
It's not an official word.
Okay.
It's a word that just came to me. The streaming advertising marketplace has become increasingly programmatically enabled, meaning more and more ads are being placed on an automated basis.
Okay.
And it's constantly evolving, and it just hasn't evolved all the way. And what's exciting for me at Freewheel is trying to make it more controllable, more transparent, more simple.
More freewheeling.
They want to freewheel the CTV marketplace, and they want to do it and place more control into the hands of publishers and into the hands of the agencies that work with them.
So I'm going to play that back about 3 times to understand it, because it's not necessarily my bailiwick.
That's okay.
But if you were at a cocktail party telling, your aunt what you do, then how would you explain it?
Grandma, when you're watching...
I said aunt, not grandma.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I just had my hair colored.
I have an Aunt Pat who's a wonderful person, and I actually just celebrated her 84th birthday the other night here in New York. And she loves her martinis. And over martinis, I said, Aunt Pat, do you watch Netflix and Hulu on your TV screen? Yes. Do you like certain programs on those platforms? Yes. Well, advertising sometimes finds its way into those programs, and my company serves the ads into the middle of those shows and makes sure that you're not seeing the wrong ad for things that you don't want to buy.
So if they were advertising vodka, that would be right up Aunt Pat's alley.
That would be way up Aunt Pat's alley. That would be the most targeted ad you could serve.
Okay. Literally served, not overserved.
That's right.
Okay. Well, speaking of being on the buy side, I'm buying it, Kris. Good job. What in all of day one have you seen that you're learning that is intriguing you? Anything yet?
I've only been here for about 3 or 4 hours so far.
But it feels like 12.
Right. What I could say is I'm seeing an ad industry that has made a tremendous amount of progress and has gotten itself very complex and complicated. But I'm encouraged because there are companies like the one I work at and other companies too who kind of know what these problems are. The agencies know what these problems are. The publishers know what the problems are. And they're actively trying to work together to solve for them. And I will get to be a player in the middle of all of that because we're powering the solutions. So I am excited because I kind of feel like we're going to be able to simplify the programmatic industry, and we're going to be able to make the advertising experience better for the consumers, like my Aunt Pat. So she doesn't see 7 vodka ads in a row. She sees a vodka ad, and then maybe she sees a steak ad as well.
Okay. So from the Demurkifying Kris Magel, thank you for the Aunt Pat explanation on behalf of all of us. But in all seriousness, Kris, I'm really happy for you. And they really picked the right person for this role, given your breadth of experience. And you've always been really kind of candid and straightforward and get to the heart of the issues. I've always relied on you for good explanations. So thanks for giving us another one.
My pleasure. My hope is to be able to articulate the complex simply, and to sometimes see if we're trying to make things too complex, help my own company, help my clients demurkify or simplify a little bit more.
Amen. Here's some more freewheeling. Hercy Miller, a.k.a. Master P, is a 5-time Grammy Award-winning philanthropist, mogul, rapper, actor, investor, now author, and now guest on Insider Interviews with me, E.B. Moss, along with his son, basketball player for Southern Utah, Hercy Miller. Now, they were at Advertising Week checking out the jackets of Jeff Hamilton and how they're starting to add brands to those jackets. But more importantly, Master P wants to talk about his new book and his intention to educate the next generation to really give back and impact change. Oh, and if you want to sign up for his Master P Masterclass, I'll add a link to the show notes. But here's a quick conversation with Master P, Percy Miller, and his son, Hercy. So you never know who you're going to bump into at Advertising Week. It's pretty great. Sometimes it's a father and a son. And when they're both stars, you got to grab them when you can. Master P, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Good to see you.
Yes.
And Hercy, how are you?
Good as well.
And you're playing with Utah.
Yeah, I'm in Southern Utah, yes.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, right now, you have some gorgeous suit jackets on, but what are you here to talk about?
Well, you know, the Jeff Hamilton jacket is incredible. To be able to see they fit jackets for Kobe, Shaq, I mean, all these greats. And to be here and to be a part of that, the vibe is just, is real. And so I just love that great product when you get a chance to be around great product. I tell my son all the time, product outweighs talent. So it's a lot of great product that's out here today.
Product outweighs talent.
Yeah.
Love that. How do you feel about that? Because you're kind of talent, Hercy, so.
Yeah, like you said, product outweighs talent. That's been a big thing with me growing up my whole life. Just being here to be able to see Some of Jeff's work in person is crazy.
Yeah, they're absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
And how many do you each have?
No, we got a lot. We just we were just looking at another one just now. So more
Okay.
to come. Working on the Master classes. It's all about financial literacy. Just finished the new book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Tell us about the book.
5 powers. Let's see this book. So this is the 5 P's to wealth.
Excellent.
And so when we're talking about financial literacy, what I love about all the advertisers that are out here and all the people with products that are out here to be able to understand the importance of financial literacy. And so that's what today is about for us as a family, because you got to break the negative cycles when you talk about my son playing basketball, getting the NIL deal, and now to be able to know what to do with your money once you have it.
Exactly right.
We're building for generational wealth, like you said. Like, we want to pass this on to the next generation of Millers.
And there was definitely a session here on NIL, name and likeness.
Yeah.
And so that's a big change for NCAA athletes. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Especially since the first year NIL came my year. So it's like I'm kind of one of the founding fathers to
Good
it. So,
timing.
yeah.
Okay, that's something to rap about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, there was also a session on a big influencer who talks about finance, but her target audience is women, and, you know, she talks about fashion. She also sells skincare and all of that. So it's important to humanize your message, right, and really do storytelling.
Well, to be honest with you, you have to know what your brand is, what your purpose is, and what exactly you want out of this. So this is definitely a great time. This is a great event to be at. And if you missed this, you missed all this information.
Completely agree. So we're going to take jackets to brands and athletes and rap. It's awesome. Thank you so much for joining. Alongside Advertising Week, there are often a lot of different events that kind of glom onto it. It's great because there are so many people in town here in New York. And so one of the sidebar events, which has been a high point of my week so far, has been the See Her event, which is in the really impressive Meta offices. And another impressive person that I came across is Jeannine Shao Collins of Kargo. Hi, Jeannine.
Hi, great to see you. I love these spontaneous interviews.
Well, you're so good at it because I just watched you do a spontaneous panel discussion here as part of See Her on your multicultural content. You say it for me.
Multicultural content amplifier. Kargo is really important to basically amplify the voices of small publishers and small independent publishers.
Yeah, it was a terrific panel, and we learned a lot about the importance of diversity, inclusion in creating content, in brands getting behind that. What were some of the key takeaways for you?
You know, we do a lot of work with our multicultural content amplifier, and we do it with partners like Discover Card. Equal Pride is one of our publishers, and we're also working with the famous Peloton instructor Jess King on her new content called On the Record. So those were the people on the panel representing those brands, and we talked a lot about the importance of accurate representation and authentic voices and how important it is to support these independent publishers so that they can be heard and we can be more tolerant and, you know, have a better world.
And I read something recently that when you have diverse creators on your creative team, that it actually has huge impact in customer engagement.
Oh,
Have
100%.
you found that?
100%. And the world is getting more and more diverse, and we talked about that on the panel. In fact, the world will be much more multicultural in the next 10 years than ever before. And so it's really important to have those diverse voices represented, and you will get better engagement. You can't be what you can't see, so it's important to show different voices and different people.
Now let's just back into it a little bit so we give people context, which is also so important. Tell us your role at Kargo and a little bit about what Kargo's doing these days.
I am the Chief Client Officer at Kargo. We are an ad tech platform. We like to say we put the art in ad tech. And we work with over 300 plus publishers on our platform and reach over 250 million people on our platform every day through those publications. And we provide tech infrastructure. We start out in mobile, and now we're moving into CTV and commerce and all that type of thing. So, like, we're an omni-channel tech solution.
They're everywhere.
And we are everywhere. And we have the good fortune of also working with publishers big and small to help them get monetized.
I think Kargo and I think innovation. The company has reinvented its deliverables over and over, and now it's a real leader.
Yeah, oh yeah. And our founder, Harry Cargman, who's been there since the beginning, he founded it 21 years ago. He was the first to see the importance of mobile before mobile was mobile, and he has been on a shopping spree to buy other types of tech in the CTV space, in the commerce space, in the AI space, so that we can make sure that our tech continues to evolve and be on the forefront.
I wish I had a tech company to sell him.
Yeah.
So to wrap it up then, is there anything that you can share that you've seen at Advertising Week or beyond that you're pretty keen on?
First, I love being part of Advertising Week because we do have the best industry and community in the world. And I think tech is going to continue to dominate the industry because it allows for us to be creative but also put the data and analytics behind it. We like to call that creative science. So creative science is the future all the way.
Yay. Perfectly said. Jeannine Shao Collins,
Thank
thanks
you
so
for the
much.
spontaneous interview.
Annie Granatstein heads up global content marketing at Marriott. She knows a thing or two about compelling storytelling across every platform, and she does it for 36 of their brands. But it's not always talking about travel. They might create content around a culinary event in Italy or a music event in the Southwest. I had a great, quick conversation with her after her panel at Brand Innovators during Advertising Week. Here's Annie. So in yet another excellent shoulder programming event to Advertising Week, popped by Brand Innovators, and I saw an amazing panel with the woman I'm speaking to now, Annie Granatstein from Marriott Bonvoy. Hello.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I met you at the Cannes Not little rendezvous of folks who had not gone to Cannes.
That was fun.
That was fun. And I loved you then and I love you now. But you were so good on the panel today. I really wanted to just share a few takeaways about your POV as you head up content for Marriott. So tell us a little bit about either a day in the life or what you crank out there.
Yeah, it's a very broad scope, actually. So the team that I oversee is pretty much every kind of content you can think of. So editorial, social, digital, video. For Marriott Bonvoy, so the travel platform, loyalty program, portfolio of hotel brands, and then also the hotel brands themselves individually. And there's over 36 hotel brands, and it's worldwide.
Wow. Okay, yeah. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. How do you stay on top of all of that, Annie?
I mean, I think, the key is really to have great deputies overseeing each piece of that. So I organize the team so that each deputy is really playing to their own strengths and coming from their really deep experience. Also, organization's so important. The larger your team gets and the more that you cover. So we think about what we do in two ways. We think about covering off on the Marriott Bonvoy content marketing needs, which is very big because it's the portfolio brand and the loyalty program and all these things I just said. And then also all the hotel brands. And so I've literally divided the team.
Oh.
Part of the team focusing on Marriott Bonvoy, part of the team focusing on the hotel brands. Yeah.
Wow. You talked a little bit about some of the content that you generate might be endemic, such as travel by design, or it might be a little bit more holistic that speaks to travelers' interests, like culinary. Who are you working with now in some of those areas? Do you have a case study or any project you can explain better?
One thing we think about are traveler passion points. So what are people really passionate about that is driving their travel? So an example of that would be people, sometimes they're traveling specifically for foodie kind of trips or food tours, or they're going to a specific destination because they know the food is going to be amazing and that's really going to be a center point of their trip. We have a series with Chef Nancy Silverton that really dives into sustainable food creation and sourcing, because Marriott Bonvoy, that's our travel program has something called Marriott Bonvoy Moments, where you can use your points for experiences, and there's an experience you can use your points for with Nancy Silverton in Italy.
Cool.
Go with her while she sources food. I know it seems really fun. But yeah, so that's just an example of how we might appeal to a specific passion point. Something else that we think about is just what is motivating travel this year, and that really underlies what we call our content strategy. And so, for example, this past year, in 2024, we've been focused on 3 travel motivators: people traveling to nurture themselves, people traveling to immerse in the destination, and people traveling to explore their passions, have fun. We call it revel.
It's great. And you have your finger on the pulse, because I have a friend who just got back from immersing herself in all things Italy. Another friend who's studying French in Aix-en-Provence right now. So people are really back and consuming a lot of travel. Another question that came up during your panel was about sustainability. And, I always ask my guests about brand purpose. What does Marriott get behind?
So broadly, Marriott has a brand belief in welcoming all to the power of travel. So very inclusive idea. It's also a very empowering idea. So it's a belief that travel can actually positively change people's lives, right? And how do we welcome everybody into that? And so that is actually underlying everything we're creating. We're always thinking about that brand belief, but some things we do are more like directly about expressing that. And you just saw a travel series called The Power of Travel, which is a very direct embodiment of that brand belief, and it follows change makers who are making a positive difference in the world via travel. So for example, one of them has created an app to help queer travelers find each other and find queer-friendly destinations, locations across the world, and especially in the Caribbean in this case. So that's an example of a change maker, right? In that space, what they're doing expresses our brand belief really well, and we've given them a spotlight, a platform to reach a lot of people with that mission.
Fantastic. Last question, Annie. Since you work across every single platform imaginable, favorite trend or tactic, speaking about finger on the pulse, in terms of media?
Yeah, there's so much to talk about here, but one I really love, and it's so relevant because I'm on a podcast right now, is the convergence of podcasting and video.
Yeah.
So we have a flagship podcast called About the Journey. Please check it out if you haven't already.
I'll add a link.
Everywhere you listen to your podcast. Now also on YouTube with video. And we did that for the first year. It's been on air, I think, 3 years just as a podcast. Now we've added video because we found a statistic that people are increasingly wanting to watch their podcasts.
It's true.
And now that we've done this, we've created video. I think we have 3 or 4 out on our Marriott Bonvoy YouTube channel. We found that with hardly any paid support behind it, we're just absolutely getting a huge amount of views. So it's really been a learning experience for us. Like when I first started making podcasts, I was not thinking, let me also make sure that I'm sending a video crew.
Yes, that's right.
And I think that if you can afford to do it, I highly recommend sending a video crew, especially for these kinds of podcasts where the visuals are so beautiful, you're in these amazing destinations, and it can really come to life in a video format as well.
Well, I did not pay you to provide that as your example and favorite trend, and I do generally create a video version of my audio podcasts as well.
You're ahead of the trend.
I just want to get this out while it's timely with advertising week. But do watch Insider Interviews on YouTube as well. YouTube happens to be one of the sources of discovery of new podcasts. So yes, you can listen on YouTube as well as, in most cases, watch it. So I love that that's your example, Annie. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So for a reminder, I'm going to add links to Master P's masterclass and to the Marriott Bonvoy YouTube page. And I hope that you'll continue to listen, follow, subscribe, and let me know who else you'd like to hear from on Insider Interviews. And I'm also going to add a link to how you can support this podcast at buymeacoffee.com. facebook.com/mossappeal, with thanks to Jim Mullen for his editing help and to my fabulous Grammy Award-winning friend John Clayton for composing the music. I'm E.B. Moss.